there was a massive shootout and a bombing at our embassy in Yemen. I took that, 16 people dead, right? And I took that as kind of strange news because I thought George Bush and Dick Cheney were so successful in stopping all the attacks against us after 9/11. It's funny how nobody's pointing out that this is a major terrorist attack on our embassy. I remember another president taking a lot of heat for embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. Who was that guy? Oh, right, Bill Clinton. When that happened under his watch, the Republicans were like, oh, look at this. You see, he encouraged the terrorists. They bombed our embassies. That's U.S. soil. U.S. soil. They bombed him. And what did he do? He did nothing. And it was because of him that it happened. Now, the truth is, of course, is a lot hazier than that, and Clinton is not guilt-free on how he dealt with al-Qaeda, okay? But that's the way, you know, the political spinmeisters spun it, and it worked. And that was the conventional wisdom. What's amazing, though, is no matter what Bush does wrong, I know it's caught up with him in a lot of ways. I don't want to get carried away. But no matter what he does wrong, on a day-to-day basis, people forget to blame him. I mean, look, major attack on our embassy. Have you heard anyone else ask the question, what is George Bush going to do about it? Is he responsible for it? Why did he allow this to happen? Is he asleep at the switch? Does he have any clue as to what's going on in Yemen and why our embassy's been attacked? And what's his plan to respond? Look, if they just ask those questions, it's just the first day. Bush doesn't have to respond yet. In fact, I don't even want him to respond yet. I'm not sure I ever want him to respond, given his responses, right? But at least after this major news breaks, one, treat it as major news, and two, somebody ask him a question about it. Somebody ask a question in general on the media. It's one of the things that drives me crazy. Bob Cesca is about to write a book about this, and one of the chapters, I happened to read it, got an advance copy, one of the chapters is about, well, I'll tell you what, there's been no attacks since 9/11, so the Republicans are great at national security. First off, of course, there was the anthrax attacks, which John McCain, in a clip we showed you last week, a month after September 11th, said, oh, it's probably Iraq. We should go invade Iraq. That's stage 2. We're coming for Iraq next. Anthrax Iraq. It turns out it wasn't Iraq, but it was a terrorist strike, no question about it. After our senators, top media figures, so what, that doesn't count? Oh, we found out later it was a white guy, so I guess that's not terrorism. And then remember the D.C. snipers? If you're only counting Muslims, they were Muslim. And they were trying to encourage other radical Muslims to do sniper fights. We forget this, right? And I love how I have to say, no, that act of terrorism counts because it was done by Muslims. We live in a crazy, crazy world, okay? Anyway, you remember how many people the D.C. snipers killed? I had forgotten. You remember? 16. That's a hell of a lot of people, man. That's almost as many people as died in the USS Cole attack. And that was right here at home. I mean, that was some domestic terrorism. My mom was afraid to drive through the Maryland, Virginia area. That's terrorism. Oh, but there were no attacks inside the United States. Whereas Lynn Cheney went on the Daily Show a while back, and she was like, well, under Clinton, we had the embassy bombings. So that's why I bring it up today. So now we have the embassy bombing in Yemen. I guarantee you, outside of this show, it will be forgotten. People will treat it as like, oh, yeah, well, the terrorism is abound everywhere now, and that's the way of life. You know, there's terrorism in Iraq, there's terrorism in Yemen, you know, London, Spain, Istanbul, wherever, who cares? It's just part of life now. What should you consider what might have made that worse through leadership? No, shush, 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 shush. Okay, so we'll shush. We won't, but the story will die down. But I wanted to let you know there was a major bombing on U.S. soil, as the Republicans would say. By the way, it was a coordinated attack. I mean, it was really brazen. Not only was it a suicide bomber, but they had snipers set up, they had machine guns, they ambushed people, and they nearly got into the embassy. So, like I said, 16 people killed. That's a lot of folks. And we'll see if there's any response. Like I said, I'm not trying to encourage a response by Bush, because you never know what happens.